Yo, what's up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Roland Raider here back once again. I'm a little late doing the game recap. Uh, just some points I wanted to talk about. But you know what? Better late than never. The weather's been crazy out here, so what are you gonna do? So anyway, the real moral of the story from our loss against Kansas City was really, really poor tackling. Um, there were several times on some of their touchdown drives that we had them wrapped up cold, and for one reason or another, we just didn't wrap up. Like, Nate Allen would go in for the big hit, and they would just bounce off. And, it happened several times on the out routes to the wide receivers. It was just a display of really, really bad tackling. Um, on the other hand, you had Charles Woodson, who was just balling out, especially in the first half. Um, Came up with a fumble recovery, came up with the strip on Travis Kelsey that he also recovered and returned. Um, he was playing lights out. I believe he finished with 5 tackles total. Let me check here. Yeah, he had 5 total tackles and 4 of them were solo. Then he had those 2 fumble recoveries. So, Charles Woodson had a big day. Um, our defensive line was getting lots of good pressure. Um, a lot of the times they were in on most of the plays, but we didn't have a we didn't have anybody watching Alex Smith, and which is funny because one of the things that Del Rio talked about was how we needed to stop Alex Smith from using his legs and running and getting, outside the pocket and then running for the first down. And yet it happened over and over and over again. So, like, okay, it's in your plan, and yet you still don't, you don't set a linebacker spy on the QB. Like, some of the coaching staff decisions in these games lately they're just baffling. They really are. Um, Khalil Mack had a big game. He had 8 total tackles, um, 5 solo, and 2 were sacks. So, he was having a big game. Dan Williams got half the sack. Ben Keeney actually got half the sack, so that's pretty good for the rookie. He should have had the full thing, but he got a little overexcited and almost jumped over Alex Smith entirely. Murray Edwards Jr. got a sack in this game. So, we had what's that? Yeah, we had 4 sacks. No, we had 4 sacks. Um, so it was a pretty good day for our defensive line. Um, you know, then we got to talk about our offense, okay? Let's talk about our special teams first. We've picked up Jeremy Ross to be our return man, and I just haven't been impressed with him at all. I mean, he'll have a decent, 15-yarder or whatever, 15-yard game, but he repeatedly runs it out of the end zone and doesn't even get back to the 20. So, what's the point in running it back if you're not going to get back to the 20? Um, recently Greg Jenkins has said that he would really like to come back and be a Raider. And when he was healthy, he was a really good return man for us. So, you know what? Since it's a revolving door anyway, I say we cut Ross, put him back on maybe try and sign him back to the practice squad. Who knows? And, we signed Greg Jenkins back and give him another try because right now what we're doing isn't working, and we lose the special teams battle every game. Every game we've lost it, and it's really pathetic. Um, our offensive line versus the blitz in the second half was dreadful, dreadful this week. Carr was under all kinds of pressure, was just, always being hit, or the pocket was collapsing on him with no place to run to, like no way to get out of the pocket. It was really bad blocking by our offensive line. But at the same time, Derek Carr was making some really, really poor mental mistakes, especially in the second half. Um, as we all know, he had a terrible fourth quarter, throwing 3 picks. Now, on 2 of those picks, no, let me rephrase that. On one of the picks, Crabtree fell down on his route. He slipped on the turf. Therefore, he was not where he was supposed to be. And it was a timing route. So it was thrown right to Kansas City. So, yeah, that's Carr's fault for not looking at the situation. But it is a timing route. So, if Crabtree doesn't slip and Carr holds it too long, it's going to be a disaster anyway. The second one, Carr was just trying to do too much. He gets in this habit where he tries to do too much and he loses track of time, it seems, because he should have just taken it, taken the sack. I don't think he really had a chance to throw it out of bounds, even though people say that he probably should have thrown it out of bounds. But he really didn't have that opportunity. The pocket had pretty well collapsed on him. So, he needed to just pull it down, take the sack, move on. It was first down. We were in their territory. Sometimes you just got to take a sack and move on to the next play. The sad thing is, well, maybe it was second down because I believe that was where he missed a wide open Crabtree. He just overthrew him. He laughed it off. It was no big deal. We were still up in the game. So it wasn't a huge deal. But then he threw the interception, and I got to give it to one man on that whole play, and that's Andre fucking Holmes, man. Andre Holmes did not give up on the play. He ran down the linebacker and tackled him at the 1-yard line. Yes, they eventually did score the touchdown, but you know what? It wasn't a pick six, and Andre Holmes, that man, did not give up on the play, and that's commendable for a terrible, terrible series right there. Things just seemed to go downhill in the fourth quarter big time. The third interception that was returned by Tyvon Branch for the touchdown, you know what? It was due to, I don't know if you consider it a drop, but it pretty much was another drop by Amari Cooper. It went right off his hands and into Tyvon Branch. It was right there for Cooper to catch. Yes, it was a tough catch. He had to dive for the ball, but it went right off of his hands and was tipped perfectly for Tyvon Branch. And, for everybody saying that Tyvon Branch got his revenge against us and we shouldn't have cut him and blah, blah, blah. According to the stats on the year, Tyvon Branch has still been one of the worst safeties in the league. So, yes, where I was a fan of Tyvon Branch when he was a Raider, and I was a little upset when they let him go. because I did think he played well for us at times. You know what? The stats don't lie, so I mean, it is what it is. But we've had key drops on key situations. You know, third downs, fourth downs that we go for. Hit the receivers right in the hands, and they just drop it. We have the most drops in the NFL, and that's not going to win you games. But I'm sorry, it's just not. Like, there's no beating around the bush about it. Like, if you keep dropping passes, we're not going to win games that way. Um, it was 14-7 at halftime, so we were doing well. We had another drop snap this week, but in watching the game, Tony Bergstrom's snaps have been like every one of them were low. Um, Very rarely did he have a good snap. Most of them were barely off the ground, and that's going to make it difficult not only for Carr to catch the snaps, but also in timing routes and things of that nature because he's having to pick the ball up from like his shins. So, if Bergstrom's going to be our backup snapper, like a backup center, then he needs to work on his snapping the ball because when Carr's in the shotgun, every one of the snaps are low. And it's just, these are the small mistakes that are building up and killing our team. Now we have two other things to talk about today, and that is Latavius Murray. Okay. Yes, he had 20 rushes for 86 yards and a touchdown. His average was 4.3 yards carry. But, he got 35 of those yards on one run. And it seems when we play the Chiefs, he has one or two big runs and then really does nothing the rest of the game. I mean, yes, last year he went out hurt and didn't come back after two big runs. But, this week he had like a 35-yarder and an 18-yarder and then pretty much did nothing the rest of the time because I don't know if it's just our offensive line doesn't open up the holes or, he runs more north, he runs more east and west than he does north and south. It's a combination of a few different things, but it's true that, yes, as the stat line and the fantasy points go, Murray had a decent day today, but he really didn't. And which brings us to our other problem, which is Musgrave's play calling. Now, I read an article today that said Musgrave, he is not set up to run this offense properly. Musgrave likes to rely heavily on the run, especially when we have the lead. And every time he has done that, it has killed us. It's killed us this year. We are a pass-first team at the moment. Our running game and our running blocking just isn't there. And, in the third quarter when we're leading at halftime, he usually comes out the first series of the third quarter and opens it up and lets Derek Carr just sling the ball around. Gets it to Cooper, gets it to Crabtree, gets it to Walford, gets it to Roberts. We have a good drive and we score usually. And then every other possession after that is run, screen pass, run, screen pass, run, wide receiver screen. Like it's run, and then some pass behind the line of scrimmage. and we go 3-and-out for repeatedly for third and fourth quarters until it comes down to, like this game, the fourth quarter, where we're down now, and we have no choice but to start throwing the ball. And their defenses know what's coming because we've just pissed away our leads every time we've had them this year because of this play calling. And, this play calling has been a joke in the second half. In the first half, it seems that, we're opening up the play calling and things are really good. But, these little drop off pass on, 3rd and 9, expecting to get the first down isn't going to happen. Like, it's not going to cut it. It's maybe worked, twice all season. And so if we continue to go this route, we're going to continue to lose games because Musgrave doesn't have the personnel to run his style of offense. We need an offensive coordinator who will let us go out and, throw the ball in the second half. Cooper and Crabtree were targeted twice in the whole second half this last week. It's just these are the things that are gonna continue to make us lose games. So with that, I'm gonna head out. I will be back next week for another game analysis. I actually took notes this week, so I knew, all the things I needed to touch on. So, let's get this next win against the Donkeys, and at least try to make an 8-8 season out of it, because we're not making the playoffs. That's pretty clear now, and so let's try and get to at least 8-8. But either way, we still won more games than we did last year and the year before. So I think we're headed in the right direction. Anyway, it's your boy, Roland Raider. I'm out till next week. Take it easy, guys.